you smell what The Rock is cooking?
Bloodline Sports. Anything and everything sports talk between family. After all, it's all relative. WrestleMania is a couple of weeks away, and so we are going to talk that today. And as you can hear, we've changed our opening team and put on The Rock's entrance music, who is now a board member with the TKO company that owns WWE, has come back as a heel, and now has aligned himself with one tribal chief, Roman Reigns. All right, my friend. So we got WrestleMania coming up, and we have those two right there, The Rock and the tribal chief Roman Reigns, aligning with each other, and they will be on night one of WrestleMania. They will form a tag team to take on the tag team of Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins, and whoever wins that, there will be a stipulation. If Cody and Seth wins the match, then that means there is no bloodline on night two for the match between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. But if The Rock and the tribal chief win, they are going to have the stipulation, which is
Bloodline rules.
Bloodline rules, which means what?
Anything goes.
Anything goes. So all the members of the bloodline will be ringside. There will be no disqualifications. They can do whatever they want. So Cody and Seth better hope that they win that match. Otherwise, it'll be bloodline rules. Any thoughts on what do you think is going to happen in that match?
Well, first off, aren't you going to introduce us?
Oh, yeah, of course. As always, I am the Juice, and next to me is my partner,
The Dossman.
The Dossman. I don't know why you have to scream, but okay. So, the Dossman. So, again, we hope you enjoy our content that we bring you today, and hit that like and subscribe button, as well as that little bell next to it that lets you know when we put a new video out. It'll notify you. But again, let's go back to it. So, thoughts on this match?
Well, interesting matches, to say the least. A month ago, it was not supposed to be this at all. It was just supposed to be Rock versus Roman. But eventually it got changed to what we have now. Oops. It got changed to what we have now. So I think that first tag team match is going to be really interesting. I feel like both nights, no matter what happens, the Bloodline's going to have some sort of interference.
Yeah, and this past week on Friday night, SmackDown, Roman had told the wise man, go out there, talk to Cody, and tell him that I'll meet him in the ring, but it'll just be me and him. I promise I will not bring the bloodline. So Cody accepted. They met out in the ring. They did their promos. Roman backed out. And lo and behold, who comes from the outside on one side and on the other side? Solo Sikoa, the Enforcer, and Jimmy Uso.
Yep, and Roman pretty much said to him, "You're stupid," whenever he came out alone.
Yep. You said, you're stupid for believing that I wasn't going to bring anybody out here. And so he backed out. Jimmy and Solo came out from the side, and the sharks started circling the water. And they got right next to Roman, and they were about to pounce on Cody. And what do you know? Cody had some backup.
He did not come alone either.
Nope. Who did he bring with him?
He brought main event Jey Uso and Seth freaking Rollins.
Yep, that is right. He brought Jey Uso and Seth freaking Rollins to have his back. And Roman was surprised.
Yep, he was.
Not as stupid as you think Cody is, Roman.
Nope.
So that did not make the tribal chief happy. They backed out. And that tells you that Cody is not stupid. He knows what he's doing.
Yep, definitely knows what he's doing.
So Cody was told by Roman, you're stupid if you're putting your trust in Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, I'm sorry, because he is my little brother. We grew up on the Shield. Well, Roman, that was like 6 years ago.
10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago, but remember they kind of got back together a little bit.
Yeah, but 2017, 2018.
Yeah, so
we were actually at that show when Roman Reigns won the Intercontinental Championship.
That's right. That's right. We were in Houston, Texas when he won that Intercontinental Championship, and both Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose,
Or
a.k.a.
John Moxley.
John Moxley, as he's known in AEW now, came out, hugged him, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
I remember after the show, because he had beaten The Miz to win it. I remember after the show, they brought him out to over where the announce table was, because this was back when the announce table was like all the way over there by the entrance, and they did a Shield powerbomb through a table.
Yeah.
That was awesome being there that night.
Yep, I remember that night. That was a good night. As a matter of fact, we went to Raw, and then we went to SmackDown. This was when SmackDown was still being taped or being live on Tuesday night.
Yes, this was when it was SmackDown Live.
This was SmackDown Live, which was Raw on Monday night, and then we went the next night and saw SmackDown Live.
Yep.
So, all right. So going into this match, if The Rock and Roman Reigns win, it's Bloodline rules, which is what I think is going to happen. I think The Rock and the Tribal Chief will win. Now, there is one thing that Cody did mention a couple of weeks back, maybe three weeks ago, when he said that he might have a legend come out and help him.
Ooh.
Which, now he's saying that it was somebody that The Rock could not beat. So that is two people that I can think of. One being his brother, Dustin Rhodes.
Yep.
Or the other one being a guy that I have always liked. This guy right here.
Stone Cold.
Hell yeah.
Steve Austin.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, whether that happened or not, I don't know. But it'll be pretty cool to see what happens if Stone Cold does come out and help Cody, if it goes into Bloodline rules. My take on this is that somehow Cody is going to survive Solo and Jimmy, and then he's going to survive The Rock, and then Roman is going to get desperate, and he's going to start ordering The Rock around, who is, as he calls himself, the final boss, and that is not going to sit well with The Rock. My prediction is that The Rock turns on Roman Reigns. He helps Cody finish his story, and then he makes that turn from being heel, which is what he's doing now, and then all is well with the fans again, Rock. Yeah. All is well with the fans.
Whenever Cody talks about a legend, a crazy plot twist is that he could actually be talking about The Rock, if you think about it.
Well, yeah, that could be true. I mean, he could be saying, The Rock is going to help me, but why would he say it was somebody that The Rock has not beaten?
Yeah, good point. That'd be awesome, though, if it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, they're just in the middle of the match and things aren't looking good for Cody, and then you just hear the glass shatter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Speaking of, gives me goosebumps every time I think about it, but you got to experience that live when we went to WrestleMania 38, which is about two years ago. And I watched Stone Cold a few times in live events. And then your mom and I went and watched WrestleMania 17 in Houston. And then 2 years ago, we decided to go back to WrestleMania 38, take you so you could experience the madness that is Stone Cold Steve Austin live.
That was awesome. Just hearing 77,000 people scream at the same time. Yep. It was awesome.
Yep.
And that match was awesome, too.
Yeah.
He took some bumps during that match with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he he for that. He was able to take a couple of bumps, and then he ended up winning the match against Kevin Owens. But, man, that glass shattered, and the place went nuts.
Yes, it was.
Ooh, I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
Man.
So we'll see what happens with that, but the talk is, legend helping Cody. I think The Rock's going to turn on Roman because Roman's going to say, hey, I am the tribal chief. You bow down to me. You do what I tell you. And Rock's going to go, you may be the tribal chief, but I'm the final boss. So,
yeah, I don't even know.
Rock bottom, maybe? I don't know.
Why does he even call himself the final boss? That just makes it sound like they're in a video game.
Yeah, well, he calls himself, which brings me to this point now. So there was a guy back in the day who used to use the moniker of Final Boss, who is a friend of, Booker T and somebody else. And they were talking about maybe suing The Rock to keep him from using that moniker as Final Boss, since somebody had already been using that back in the day. We'll see what happens. I don't know. It may just all be talk, but I think Rock will continue to call himself the Final Boss. He will take out Roman Reigns. Cody will finish his story, and he will be the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
Yeah. I feel like no matter what happens, Cody's going to win the belt on night 2.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which sucks for me, being a Roman Reigns fan. He's always been one of my favorite wrestlers. And I've wanted him to be champion pretty much as long as possible at this point. I'm going to be honest, I want him to break all the records he has in front of him still. I want that to happen.
I don't.
That's
a long time.
I can wait another 3-4 years for that. I can wait another 4 years for that. Sure, he'll be like almost 40 by then, but...
Right, but the guy you're talking about that you wish he would break his record is one Bruno Sammartino, who held the championship for how long?
Almost 8 years. He held it for over 2,400 something days.
And Roman is sitting at 1,300 days, so that would mean that he would have to go 2,100 more days to break that record. That's a long time. That's another 3-4 years, and we're done. We're done. Yeah,
I can hold out. I can hold out for that. It doesn't even have to be about the bloodline at that point. They could just do whatever.
Yeah, but that means he's going to have to hold the belt for another 4 years, and I just don't think the fans will go for that. I think they're ready for somebody else to take the reins. No pun intended. I think they'll look for Cody to finish his story, and then that'll give Roman Reigns a much-needed break from being in the spotlight and being the guy. But we'll see what happens. So, also in WrestleMania, we will have Bayley taking on Io Sky for the Women's Championship.
Yep, that's going to be another match that's happening.
Yeah, and if as you remember, Bayley was the one that created Damage Control, and then brought on Io Sky and Dakota Kai, and then after that they brought Kairi Sane and Asuka joined them.
The Kabuki Warriors.
The Kabuki Warriors, who are now the tag team champions, women's tag team champions, and they ousted Bayley, and Bayley is going to make them pay now.
Yep, because she did win the Royal Rumble this year.
Yes, she did. She won the Royal Rumble just like Cody did, but Cody did it back-to-back last year. He won it as well, which makes him a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner, only matching 1 or 2 people, I believe.
Yes.
And one of those being Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yep. I think the other person's like Hulk Hogan or Ric Flair.
Yeah, I think so. So that is a match that we're looking forward as well. Bayley taking on Io Sky. I hope to see Bayley win the championship. She has got kind of gotten over with the fans now. She is not a per se heel anymore.
And it's been a long time since she won any gold.
Yep. And then we also have another match between Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso.
Ooh, is there any special stipulations on that one?
I don't know that there's any special stipulation, but I will tell you what I think is going to happen. I think their dad is coming out.
Oh, that would be awesome seeing him come out.
I think Rikishi's going to come out, and he is somehow going to restore order. There has been talk that he is supporting one guy who is really over with the fans right now and really thinks should be the spotlight out of the two, and that is main event Jey Uso.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. With Rikishi coming on and saying, "All right, Jimmy."
That'd be, man, I'd love to see Rikishi come out.
Yeah, your brother, awesome. Main event Jey Uso needs to have the spotlight, and you need to go bye-bye for a little bit, and let him take the spotlight for now.
Yeah.
So another matchup that I am looking forward to is between AJ Styles and this guy. Yep.
That's going to be
LA
a match?
Knight. That is going to be a match. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. My man, LA Knight. I hope that he wins this, and I hope that once this whole bloodline story, Roman Reigns goes away, Cody is the champion, that LA Knight starts getting his due. It starts getting some shots, whether it's the heavyweight championship or it's the universal championship, but I believe he deserves either one.
Yeah.
That's right. So AJ Styles taking on LA Knight, my man. Everybody gives him a knock because they feel like he's a matchup between The Rock and Stone Cold. And as a matter of fact, a guy came out this week and said, from the beginning when I heard LA Knight, I never thought he sounded like The Rock. I thought he was more Stone Cold. I saw more Stone Cold in him.
Really?
Yep.
Who said that?
I believe it was Vince Russo, if I remember right. It was either him or Bully Ray, one of the two. I can't remember. I read it somewhere. So we will have that match between AJ Styles and LA Knight.
Well, Dad, let me talk to you.
All right, talk to me.
I cannot wait for what happens after that match is over and after the Bloodline story is over, because once that's over, he can go two ways. He can either go for the World Heavyweight Champion, no matter who that's going to be, or he could go for Cody. I feel like I see him going after Cody more likely. Maybe they have a match at SummerSlam for the championship. So, yeah.
Well, either way, he needs to get a push, and he will make that place known when everybody saith L.A. Knight.
What the heck?
Oh, my God. We messed up again. Once again, I will try this. L.A. Knight. Yeah. All right. There's a couple of more matches in there, but the next big one is going to be, we think it's going to be because of what happened Friday night, where Rey Mysterio was taken on the Legado del Fantasma and Santos Escobar, where Rey almost had Santos beat, and then somebody came out wearing a Rey Mysterio mask, helped Santos win. The guy reveals his face, and it's none other than Dirty Dom.
We're going to do that again?
I think
they're
so.
Gonna do that again?
There's a talk that they're going to do that again because, as you know, Rey just came back from being injured. His knee is still not 100%. You could still watch him. He wasn't very... he wasn't the old Rey Mysterio when he was in the ring with Santos Escobar. And so the talk is the Rey now being a Hall of Famer is now ready to call it quits and go into retirement. So this would be Rey versus Dom Part 2 in a retirement match. So Rey probably wants to put his own son over, and then he can ride away into the sunset when he gets to retire because Dominic beat him.
Yep. That's gonna be pretty interesting if they do that. Because I'm like, yeah, he's at the twilight of his career. He's towards the end of it. He's been wrestling for what? 25 years now? Almost 30 years?
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he started when he was 16, if I remember right.
And he probably just can't keep going with injuries at his age that he's at now. So
yeah, I bet he's been wrestling for about 34 years or so.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying is that they'll have Dominic versus Rey Part 2 in a retirement match. Dominic will win as Rey will put him over.
Yeah. And
Rey will ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. Well, then what are they going to do with Dom after WrestleMania then?
Well, I think the way it's starting to pay now. Mommy came out and on Twitter put a little emoji of the because when Dom came out and helped Santos Escobar, she's like, okay, what's going on? And meaning Dom may be leaving the Judgment Day to join the Legado del Fantasma and maybe to recreate the new LWO. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I just don't see him joining Legado. I just don't really see that happening. I feel like I see him leave the Judgment Day and go on his own, actually, and start to build his way up to eventually, a few years from now, he's in the championship contention.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. I think he's probably going to leave, and he will be. I can almost see Dom taking the role of the new leader of the LWO. Remember now, he's got Andrade, who just came back.
Oh, yeah.
Has kind of been hanging around with the Judgment Day, but I think it's more than anything. I think he's trying to pull Dominic away from the Judgment Day.
Yeah, probably.
So, looking forward to WrestleMania in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to seeing the match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Night 1, tag team matchup, Rock Reigns versus Rhodes and Rollins. Night 2, Cody could be in no bloodline at all, or bloodline rules where everybody in the bloodline's there and anything goes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know, but I like it.
There's a lot of things that could happen at WrestleMania this year. I'm like, we got Roman Reigns and The Rock teaming up. We also got a possible Rikishi return, which is something I never expected.
Yeah.
And we have probably Rey Mysterio in his last match. I'm like, there's a lot of things going on at WrestleMania this year.
Yep.
Well, that does make sense. It is a new WrestleMania decade, I guess you could say, with it being WrestleMania 40.
Yep.
Only problem I have with this year's WrestleMania, did it really have to be in Philadelphia?
But no, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So WrestleMania in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. Excited to watch that show. And so why don't we move on to our next segment, man? Now that we've done WrestleMania, let's move on to our next segment.
And
it's a segment that is new.
In fact, we only just introduced it, 2 episodes ago?
2 episodes ago. So let's go to it.
Highlight of the week.
Alrighty. And this week's highlight of the week comes out of Memphis, Tennessee, where during their second round matchup in March Madness, Texas A&M hit a buzzer beater to send it to overtime against Houston.
1.2 seconds left. Texas A&M.
Here's Taylor, keep in mind. As he races to that corner.
Radford, the inbounder, looking. The bounce. Garcia. Oh, got it! We are tied!
Man, the roof, I could barely hear myself over that.
Yeah.
The roof on that place flew off whenever he hit that. I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
wow. The score was 83 to 86. There was 1.2 seconds left, and Garcia gets the ball, and he just decides, I'm going to go all in.
Yep.
And he just straight up shoots that thing.
Yep.
And bucket.
Buckets.
Absolute bucket.
Nothing but net.
Nope.
Swish.
Now, unfortunately, they did still lose in overtime by a score of 100 to 95, but that was still crazy nonetheless. I'm like,
Yep.
could you imagine being in that building whenever he hits that?
Oh, man, it just had to be pandemonium. Kind of like when Stone Cold came out at WrestleMania. Yep. So,
Yeah.
195. And so, therefore, the Houston Cougars fly Slamma Jamma, moves on to the next round, and goes into the Sweet 16. Which brings us to a good segue for our next segment. So, why don't we go ahead and go to it right now? All right, we just did a highlight of the week where we highlighted a play from the NCAA tournament. So we are moving into a NCAA tournament, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you got for us in store this week?
Well, March Madness is on. It's a pretty awesome tournament, you know? You got, 64 teams every year
Yep.
compete to win the championship trophy.
Yep.
This year, the Final Four is going to be in Phoenix.
Yep.
So that's going to be cool. And that will be April 8th. But for now, we are currently in the Sweet 16, the third round of the playoffs.
That's right.
And our teams that are currently remaining is number 1 ranked UConn,
Yeah.
who will be taking on number 5 San Diego State on March 28th.
Right.
Number 3 Illinois taking on number 2 Iowa State on March 28th. 28th, that's the 28th, yeah. Number 1 North Carolina UNC.
our favorite team, which I've been a fan of that team since the 1980s when Michael Jordan was there as a Tar Heel, and then I followed him to the NBA and became a Bull, and I am a Bulls fan ever since.
And they will be taking on, oh boy, Sweet Home Alabama.
Alabama.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yep.
That's going to be an interesting matchup for
And
sure.
they kind of escaped a very tight game last night, if I remember right. It was kind of
yeah.
tight until the end.
Yep, 72-61 final score against Grand Canyon for Alabama.
Yep, the Lopes.
Anyways, in our other match that will be in the West will be number 6 Clemson against number 2 Arizona on March 28th.
Yep.
So now heading into the South, we have Houston, who we mentioned earlier, taking on number 4 Duke.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. And then we have, I guess you could say, our Cinderella story this year. Number 11 NC State taking on number 2 Marquette.
The Wolfpack.
Yes,
Yep.
and the two games I just mentioned will be on March 29th. Next game, number 1 ranked Purdue against number 5 Gonzaga,
Yep.
March 29th. And the last match in the Sweet 16 is number 3 ranked Creighton against number 2 ranked Tennessee on March 29th.
Yep. All right. So there you have it. Those are the teams that are remaining. Again, we are North Carolina Tar Heel fans. So we are pulling for our team to win it all this year. All right. So what are we doing with this? Are we picking our predictions for the rest of the way out until the Final Four and who's the champion going to be?
Yep, that's what we're going to do.
All right. Well,
We kind of got a late start, but might
that's
as well.
all right.
So
well, it's okay.
I will kick things off by picking the UConn and San Diego State game, with UConn winning that game.
I concur. I will take UConn as well.
All right, and then the next game, we have Illinois and Iowa State. I think, now, I've done a little bit of thinking over the past weekend.
Yeah.
I think Iowa State's going to win. So,
I'm going to go with the Fighting Illini on this one. So I'm going to take Illinois.
ooh, okay. Alrighty then. So, next match, we have UNC taking on Alabama. Not just because they're my favorite team, our favorite team, but because I genuinely think they can go far this year. I have UNC defeating Alabama.
Yeah, I already picked them. So.
And then we have Clemson and Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Wildcats as well. So I'm going to take Arizona on that game as well.
Yes. Oh,
All right, so we're going to move over to the south side.
All right.
And then we have the first game is going to be Houston, number 1 versus number 4, Duke, who is the arch rival of the Tar Heels. So you know which way I'm going. I am going Houston.
Yep, me too. Duke.
All right, and then the next match, it's the Wolfpack, who won the NCAA championship, I believe it was in 1982, back when they had Jimmy Valvano. A lot of people know who Jimmy V is. He had cancer and passed away. And every year during the ESPN Awards, they mention Jimmy V, the Jimmy V Award. So Jimmy Valvano and NC State won the NCAA championship in 82, I believe. So you have them going up against Marquette, number 2. Who are you taking?
NC State.
All right, you going Wolfpack. I'm going to go Marquette.
Right. Wait, so this award they have, is it kind of like the Walter Payton Award for the NFL?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Courage Award. Kind of. It's more of a Courage Award, kind of like the Warrior Award for WWE. So,
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
yeah.
So, do you know who won it last year?
I don't. I don't.
So,
All right, moving on to our next game. We have number 1 Purdue, the Boilermakers, going up against the Bulldogs in Gonzaga.
I think this is pretty obvious.
I think I'm going Purdue.
Yep, Purdue.
And then
Purdue.
the last game will be the number 3 ranked Creighton versus number 2 Tennessee Volunteers.
I got Creighton taking down the Volunteers.
I do as well. I'm taking Creighton. All right, so let's go. What we got next after this?
Alrighty.
So
For
now
our
we're going into the Elite Eight. Yeah.
Our first Elite 8 matchup, we have UConn and Iowa State. I have UConn winning.
I do as well.
Alrighty.
All right.
And then UNC and Arizona. UNC does it again.
Yep. Same for me.
Alrighty. And
All right. Moving on to the other side, we have Marquette, the Fighting Eagles, going up against the Houston Cougars. I am taking Houston.
Ooh, all right. you know what? This is going to sound a little bit outlandish, but I'm going to pick NC State to go to the Final Four.
Wow.
I don't
You're
know.
taking
I don't
NC
know
State
what
over
the
Houston.
chances-
Okay.
I don't know what the chances of an 11 seed going to the Final Four are. I've never really truly watched March Madness until like
Okay.
last year. So is there like a low chance of them going that far?
I mean, you always have the one team that always gets in there, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's gonna be NC State this year.
All right. Purdue versus Creighton. I am going Purdue.
Me too.
So I have in the Final Four, I have all number ones: UConn, NC, Houston, and Purdue.
Ooh, all right. I have number 1 UConn, number 1 UNC, number 11 NC State, and number 1 Purdue. So,
All right.
the first match of the Final Four, we have UConn and UNC. Now, I'm going to go out and say this. I think there's a medium to low high chance that the game goes to overtime.
Okay.
But I think no matter what happens, UNC wins to punch their ticket to the national championship game for the second time in 4 years, I believe. Because
Something like that.
they
yeah.
just went to it, right? Like,
Yeah, not too long ago. I will join you, my friend. I will go NC.
all right.
North Carolina Tar Heels. Let's go, baby.
And then
And then on the other side, we have Houston. I have Houston versus Purdue. I am going to take Houston.
all right, I will take Purdue as I think they will be the ones to end NC State's run this year. So, for my championship game, I have UNC and Purdue.
All right. So I have North Carolina and Houston. And I am going to go ahead and pick North Carolina since I've got them in there.
Me too.
I'm going NC champion all the way.
Yes. And now, here, let's go a little further. Do you think the game goes to overtime?
For the championship game?
Yep.
If it's
Or do you
between-
think it at least goes down to like
It'll
2
go down to
points?
the wire. It'll go down to the wire. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think it'll go down to the wire. So.
Yes, and I have UNC beating Purdue to finally get over the hump and win the championship for the first time since what?
I don't know.
Oh, either way, it'd be nice,
Yeah.
Him finally winning the championship again after heartbreak from 2016. Whenever, who was it? Villanova or whatever the name is, hit a buzzer beater against them to win.
I think so.
And then a few years ago, whenever Kansas beat them
Yep.
somehow, how did they beat them?
Kansas is good, and I'm surprised that they went out so early this year. They're usually in there. They're usually either in the Elite Eight or the Final Four. They just kind of got thrown out quickly this year. So I don't know, but when you look at the Final Four, you know, back in the 80s and the early 90s, you always said, okay, I am looking to have Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, and then a wild card in there. But those first three were pretty much a cinch for the Final Four every time.
Wow.
Things have changed. Everything has been leveled. You've had some Cinderella teams in there the last few years.
Ooh, what team was it last year? That was like what, ranked 15 and made it to the Final Four championship
I don't
game?
remember, but
Some team was like ranked was number 15 and made it all the way to the Final Four.
yeah. So you've had teams that you don't expect to advance from the first round into the second round and so forth. One of those being a local university here,
Ooh.
Abilene Christian University, when they beat Texas.
Yes, that was what, 2020?
I believe so.
Yes, they made it there and won a game.
Yeah.
I remember that. That game went down to the wire.
Yeah, I think it was 2019, 2020, somewhere in there, if I remember right. I think it might have been 2020.
Yes. It was, or no, I think it was the year Baylor won. I think it was 2021.
Well, either way.
Either way, they made it.
They made it. Yeah, and Baylor. I mean, who would you ever thought Baylor was going to win a national championship? I didn't.
Have they never been favorites to
No,
win it?
and then you had TCU, I guess, a couple of years ago making a deep run as well. So nowadays, it's anybody can be anybody. I mean, it's just like we had UNLV in the early '90s, who were the anomaly. I mean, they won back-to-back championships.
UNLV?
Yeah, the Running Rebels,
What is that? University of Las Vegas?
University of Las Vegas. That's right.
Were they some random team before?
Yeah, and then they had the good run when they had back-to-back championships. Of course, they had a really good team those 2 years. They had Larry Johnson, Grandmama, You don't know who that is, but you need to go back and look up some videos on Larry Johnson. Go back and look at UNLV when they won the back-to-back championships. So you'll see how many good players they had.
When was that?
I don't remember. But you'll just have to go and search for them.
Man, but back-to-back.
Yep.
Huh?
But again, it doesn't matter because I am pulling for my team, the Tar Heels. I am looking forward for them.
Multiplayer domination is one of the many ways.
In one of the
I don't
many
get
ways.
it. I don't get why we
You
have so
open
much
it
stuff.
up and a random ad pops up.
I know. It's like crazy. Like, bro, don't. We already have enough difficulties as it is. So, anyways, I was saying I am looking forward to UNC. Hopefully they'll get in there into the championship game and win the championship again this year. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, all right, my friend. Well, it's about that time.
All right.
To wrap it up. So, as always, we hope you enjoyed our show. We enjoyed bringing it to you. You are my pride and joy, and I love you. And as always, this is Bloodline Sports. It's all relative. Goodbye, everyone.